Oh boy, this has been a long time coming. Hey, what's up, pups? It's JR, and the time has finally come. The series finale of Built to Destroy. Chair. That was my chair. I wanted to get this up sooner. I really did, but unfortunately, I could not bring myself to fix and finish the new avatar. Until now. Ta-da! Alice is finally video ready. There are a few slight kinks with this model, but quite frankly, they're so minor that I simply cannot give a shit about fixing them right now. So now that for the most part I am done with Alice, the only thing that remains for her is making a new YouTube icon that uses her instead of my old Mangle model. So that'll be fun. Hey, it me. This is when I'm editing the VR recording. I completely forgot to record the credits for the various resources I used to make Alice's model. And if you hear the whirring in the background, that's my fan in the window because it's fucking hot in here and I'm not turning it off. So these are the credits for the people who made the various resources I used off of DeviantArt to make Alice. Her bat ears are from MMD Fake Wings 18. The base body is TheOnlySoul. The boots, I fucking love these boots, by the way. The boots are by SunoSuno. The hair is by detheye. The jacket, which the credit is in a README file as opposed to the other resources. The jacket is by ChickKid11 on DeviantArt. They're all on DeviantArt, but whatever. The skirt is by Tehrainbowllama. And her wings are by xxShinyMarinexx. So they're all going to be credited and linked down in the description of all my videos. So give them a look, because they did a good job. The jacket was kind of annoying on some parts, but I won't hold that to you, chick kid. Mainly because this is the second time I had to record your name because I didn't realize what your name was. Anyway, thank you to all those people. Thank you to MMD Fake Wings 18. Thank you to TheOnlySoul. Thank you to SunoSuno for making those amazing boots that I fucking love. Thank you to detheye. Thank you to ChickKid11. Thank you to Tehrainbowllama. And thank you to xxShinyMarinexx. I'm just gonna say it all the way, even though I'm probably not supposed to say the XX because you know how are they gonna search you up on DeviantArt. Anyway, you can go back to the video now. I'm sure you're waiting for stuff. Bye. Now, I'm sure you all want me to cut to the chase, seeing as how I clickbaited the ever-living heck out of the title. But fear not. The title may be clickbait, but I assure you that it is true. I will caveat this by saying our weapon today is the strongest weapon in the game in the sense that it has the highest potential DPS, A, I've ever seen, B, I believe is possible. There is at least one weapon that is as strong or stronger, not sure, but that's with burst damage as opposed to DPS, and that's Volcar Wraith with a perfect ribbon and a very specific build. I'm not going to be going over Volcar Wraith, seeing as how, 1, this is the last episode of Built to Destroy, and 2, the Volcar Wraith in question is my brother's, and this series is about my personal weapons and my personal builds, so yeah. And while that is true, with this episode specifically, I am going to be showing you how to get this weapon as strong as possible, seeing as how to get the unfathomable DPS you can get to this weapon, you need a very specific build and very specific setups. JR, are you teaching us how to make the meta build for a weapon? Nothing better to finish off a series than me acting like a total hypocrite, huh? I am technically teaching you the meta build for this weapon, purely seeing as how meta stands for most efficient tactic available. But once I get into exactly how to do it, you'll see that it requires more effort than any meta fuckboy in Warframe is willing to put in. AKA, you need to do more than just put a mod on a whip or a polearm and spam 2 buttons through an entire mission, so long as you have at least 2.5 brain cells, this should be no problem for you. So, JR, I think you've been beating around the bush for quite long enough, so tell me, what weapon do you have? What is it that makes this weapon, as you say, unfathomably powerful? And what weapon in Warframe has the highest potential DPS you've ever seen?
I shall become a beast feeding on their destruction. I am
That's right, Nukor. It's probably supposed to be pronounced Nukor, but I think DE was completely aware of what they were doing, so I feel it's more appropriate to call this thing Nukor. Nukor is a Grineer beam pistol that channels radioactive energy to melt enemies from the inside out. It sports 22 pure radiation damage, a 29% status chance, a 3% crit chance, yes, 3%, but a 4.0 times base crit damage. You might see Nukor's pitiful crit chance and extreme crit multiplier as a cruel joke made by DE, but I, an intellectual, see possibilities. Now, to take advantage of this high crit multiplier, we're gonna have to get that crit chance up. But we're not going to be putting on any crit chance increasing mods. No Prime Pistol Gambit, no Hydraulic Crosshairs, nothing. The way we're gonna get this bitch working is by stacking exclusively damage and crit damage increasing mods. Hornet Strike, Target Cracker, my Riven, adding 419.1% more damage and 147.6 more electricity damage, Primed Heated Charge, Convulsion, Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent, and Sharpened Bullets. Keep in mind though, we'll be acting if my normal Target Cracker was a Primed Target Cracker, purely because I don't have it because I've stopped giving a shit about Warframe in general. Before crit, Nukor is up to 2280 radiation damage. Then we have its now 16 rounds per second fire rate, and it's now 18.4 times crit damage. However, with Sharpened Bullets, after a kill, that'll be kicked up to 11.4 times. So, we got our damage up to 2,280 and our crit multiplier up to 11.4. How are we going to take advantage of that? Well, that part is simple. All you need is Haro and an Adarza Kavat. Haro's fourth ability is Covenant, which renders him and nearby allies invulnerable for a short time and absorbs incoming damage. He absorbs the damage and converts it into a crit chance buff when the invulnerability ends. Luckily, the crit buff is static, so that made running numbers on everything much easier. Once Haro has built up the maximum amount of damage that can be converted into crit, which actually isn't all that much, body shots will have 50% more crit chance than whatever the base crit chance of the weapon you shot that person with is, and headshots will do the same, but with 200% more crit chance. Luckily, it's our old friend additive crit chance instead of multiplicative, which means, a weapon with, let's say, 3% crit chance will get kicked up to 53% chance on a body shot, and yes, 203% crit chance on a headshot, which is very easy with a beam weapon. And then you have the Adarza Kavat, which, with the ability Cat's Eye, brings in 60% more crit chance into the mix. So, it being additive as well, on a headshot, this theoretical weapon will be kicked up to 263% crit chance, with an 11.4 times crit multiplier. And that multiplier isn't including the head crit multiplier, but we'll get back to that in a minute. The good thing about Covenant's crit buff being static is if you're building your Haro for Covenant, you can ignore strength a good amount, so long as you don't reduce it, as that will increase the amount of damage you'll need to absorb before you get the maximum buff. My build with Haro here is heavily focused on duration, to make it so that the buff lasts as long as possible, as well as tacking on the augment mod Lasting Covenant, which makes it so headshot kills add 3 seconds to the crit chance buff, allowing you to renew it and bring it higher than the duration it normally starts at, making it work similar but not exactly like Valkyr's augment Eternal War. As for the Adarza Kavat, all you really need to do is max out the Crit Eye ability mod and put it in the very top left corner of your build so that your Kavat prioritizes using it over everything else. I know this works on Sentinels, but I'm not entirely sure if it works on Kavats and Kubras as well, but you'll just have to bear with me here. So now, we've come to the moment of truth. The thing you have all been waiting for. With this build, and my Riven specifically, after a kill, with continuous headshots, Haro's Covenant, and Cat's Eye active, Nukor gets up to 397, 632 average overall damage, and 6,362,112 average DPS. My brother and I were toying around with Nukor before either of us had a chance to actually do anything with the numbers, and we were able to get it up to 24 million average DPS, or around that. But that is with a highly specific Riven and a highly specific build, including your Warframe. It also included the Smida's crit buff instead of the Adarza Kavat, which I went with the Adarzacavat because its crit buff is more consistent, seeing as how the Smeeta's crit buff is in a pool of several different other buffs you could possibly get, so there's no telling if you'll even get it at all. But obviously, I wasn't able to get this perfect Riven, and I prefer the Adarzacavat overall, so this is the build I'm stuck with. So now, allow me to head to the Simulacrum so we can see what Nukor can do. If you really want to crank up Nukor's DPS, you could throw in Volt's Electric Shield, Rhino's Roar, Chroma's Vex Armor, and basically any ability that increases your damage even more. This build is for people like me who are solo players, or at least don't have any friends who are willing to stack buffs on a very specific weapon. But a full squad of people with this Nukor build focused on buffing that Nukor, I could see that as really fun. So, now that all of that is out of the way, I can finally close off this series. I would like to thank each and every one of you for sticking around with this series for so long, and just watching my videos in general. But most of all, I would like to thank all of you for giving me the chance to do the most satisfying thing I have ever experienced in my 18 years on this earth. I'm totally not going to reinstall it when Wisp comes out. Anyway, with that, I'm going to cut this video here. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like, and make sure to hit that subscribe button to become a pup if you haven't already. Also, if you want to support me in the channel, consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month. As a final request from me as a Warframe content creator, please, share this video around. I may not be uploading Warframe content anymore, but I still want to be able to teach the Warframe community that even the most obscure weapon that nobody knows about, or even wants to use, can be built to destroy.